Video 3. Editing the candidate configuration. This video describes the task number 3 of this vDay 1 practice. Now that you know how to navigate through the configuration, let's change it. You can view the configuration as a tree with branches and leaves. The set command is creating a new leaf in the hierarchy, VLAN ID 2. This leaf is anchored at the Unit 2 branch. Since the Unit 2 branch did not exist, the set command had to create it first in order to place the VLAN ID 2 leaf. So the set command has the necessary intelligence to create all the necessary branches to place a new leaf. As you know, the edit command allows you to go down the hierarchy, in this case 2 levels, down to the configuration of the interface Gigabit Ethernet 001. From there, you can execute the command set relative to the branch of the hierarchy where you are. You change the VLAN ID value from 2 to 102. So executing twice the set command at the same leaf simply changes the value of the leaf. Let's see another example. This logical interface still does not have all the necessary properties to be operational. You need an address family. Let's choose IPv4, or in other words, INET. With the same set command, you create the branch family INET and also the address. What if you try to change the IP address with a set command? Unlike the VLAN ID, which is unique, a logical interface can have several IPv4 addresses. So this command is not changing the current IPv4 address. Instead, it adds a new one. The set command has the ability of doing a replacement or an addition, depending on the type of variable it's acting upon. The delete command removes the specified branch from the hierarchy level where you are. In this case, you delete Unit 2 and all its leaves. Up to now, you have seen how the set and delete commands modify the candidate configuration. Let's see the other commands. The copy command that you see in the terminal is copying the configuration of the interface GE001 to GE002. For this command to succeed, the interface GE002 cannot exist beforehand, since Junos would not overwrite an existing branch. As a result of the copy command, both interfaces have an identical configuration. What if we delete GE001 now? As a net result of this two-step procedure, the interface GE001 is now replaced by GE002. Imagine that you regret this change and want to revert the configuration of GE002 back to GE001. You can use a two-step procedure, copying GE002 to GE001 and deleting GE002, or, as an alternative, you can do it in one shot with the rename command. Apparently, it's just a name change, but in reality, it's something more. Internally, Junos is deleting GE002 and adding GE001. For the user, it's just one command, though. Now let's see what happens if you add a new IPv4 address to the loopback interface and remove the original one. What you just did can be done with one single command. Indeed, you use the rename command here to restore the original address. In reality, none of the changes shown up to now had any effect on the device, since you are acting upon the candidate configuration. The changes have not been committed. You are writing on a draft which is changing, but as long as the changes are not committed, the active configuration remains the same. Although you are adding configuration pieces, changing, moving, and deleting them, from the perspective of the active configuration, there was no change. Later you'll see how to commit changes, but for the moment, let's see other options to edit the candidate configuration. You are about to do a replacement, but instead of moving a branch or a leaf, you will do a pattern substitution. You are in Edit Interfaces, and every occurrence of number 1 down that hierarchy is replaced with number 2. It's very much like editing a text file and performing a global replacement. Although replace is a very useful command, it's also very aggressive in the sense that you may replace something unexpected. In this case, as we replace 1 with 2, the interface GE001 becomes GE002. But this only worked since the GE002 was not previously defined in the configuration. Unit 1 became Unit 2. VLAN ID 1 is now VLAN ID 2, and the IP address 10.1.1.1 became 20.2.2.2. How can you go back? This time, you just need to do the reverse replacement, 2 with 1. However, the reverse replacement does not always work. You can have unexpected surprises. Let's see an example. In this loopback interface, you replace pattern 1 with 2, so IP address 10.100.1.1 is simply replaced with 20.200.2.2. The surprise is in the way back. You replace pattern 2 with 1. What happened? Not only the IP address changes, also the network mask does. You went from a /32 to /31. In other words, after replacing 1 with 2, then 2 with 1, the end result is different than the original one, which had 10.100.1.1/32 and not 31. In order to fix it, you do a finer replacement, although a rename would have worked here too. Anyway, since nothing has been committed yet, none of these temporary changes made it to the active configuration so far. Finally, let's see how to reorder parts of the configuration. In this example, you change the order of the IP addresses. There are other scenarios where the usefulness of the insert command is more obvious. For example, if you move terms in a firewall filter in Junos, which is similar to an access list in iOS, or if you edit a routing policy in Junos, similar to a route map in iOS.